Days are done and over with. All right, let's turn the music down. You guys want to hear me discuss these phones. Some of you might be looking at these phones as options to upgrade from an older Pixel or possibly get away from, the Apple iPhone or the Samsung Galaxy. You're sick of the same. You want something else, maybe, right? Anyways, before I get started with today's stream, shout out to Tito Aloha Android, who had me on his show tonight or this afternoon. Shout out to him for having me. Appreciate it. It was a great time. It was a pleasure being there as we discussed the phones, watching, and kind of live reacting to the event. Shout out to Joel, who's here. Max Tech Studios in the house. Who do we got here? We got D Clapton. What up, D Clapton? Ascending's in the house. Yeah, Max. Yeah, Pixel's a pixel. We'll talk about it. There's always going to be pros and cons with all things. The Pixel is not immune to those same things, right? Yeah, we'll talk about the cellular specs. We'll talk about some of the hardware. I think what I want you guys in terms of my mission in today's pod and this live stream, I just want you to walk away knowing more about the Pixel phones and whether or not you'd be interested in them as an option to maybe upgrade from your current Pixel or move on from a different manufacturer and you're looking for something else, right? So that's kind of my mission, and that's what I want to do here in today's stream. All right, so what I'll do with you guys here to kind of get things started is I'm just going to go over the lineup of things that were announced at Google's event. All right. We have 4 new phones, some of which are available for pre-order and are shipping in just a couple of weeks. Others, I think they're going to be available down the road, so you can't get them right away. We'll cover some of those things. We'll talk about pricing. We'll look at features. We'll look at cellular specs, Wi-Fi specs. We'll look at, battery technologies, I should say battery capacities, features and things that they discussed at the event. And to be honest with you, and I'll just get it out of the way right here on the front end, right? The bulk of the event, the bulk of the showing off of the devices, the hardware, it was really about features. It's what the phones, the watches, the headphones, it's all about features. AI, artificial intelligence, smart features, that like things that are, I would call them bleeding edge, cutting edge, first of its kind, industry leading. We saw a lot of that, and then I think for us, it's those things matter. It's probably the most important stuff, with respect to why you would be buying these phones, right? You would be buying these phones for those features. And if you want, you guys can check out the Google page. They have, the event, and they covered it. They demoed all the features. And I have to be honest with you guys, the features were phenomenal. There were probably 10 things that I saw in the feature demonstrations that would apply to my life, that could offer me with lifestyle upgrades, making my life easier, making me more productive as a creator. So if they can help me, I'm sure they can help others as well. So maybe give it a watch, take a look at some of those features. This stream would get too long if I had to cover all those things. But here's the phone lineup. Okay, so the Google Pixel 9 lineup consists of 4 different devices. You have the entry-level Pixel 9. Then you have the Pixel 9 Pro, which offers some hardware upgrades and some different types of capabilities, some of which actually are specific to the larger devices. We have the Pixel 9 Pro XL, offering a larger display, a larger battery, and those types of things, amongst other things. And then you have the Fold, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Okay, and that being a foldable kind of puts it in its own lane, separates it from the rest of the phones. All right, so that's what we got. We'll talk about pricing. We'll talk about features. We'll look at some of those things. But again, I wanted to make sure you guys knew 4 phones right off the bat. Now, there's also 2 watches. So you have the Google Pixel Watch 3, and you have the 2 versions of it. You have a now larger 45 millimeter option for those of you out there that like, smartwatches. but you thought maybe the previous generations were too small. Now you get the larger option, which gets you a larger display and a larger battery. You could fit those types of things and improve on those types of things with time, and that's what they did. So if just getting a larger watch was the reason why you stayed away, now it might be a reason to maybe check it out, getting the additional, 4 millimeters of display real estate, brighter display, those types of things, some new fitness features. I'm not going to spend too much time on the watches, but just know that the regular sized watch is 349. That's the Bluetooth. If you want it with LTE, you're going to be paying more. The 45 millimeter one starts at 399.99. If you want the LTE version, it's going to be more expensive as well by an additional $100. Right? So that's important to know as well. Pixel Buds Pro 2. I'll let Technoid explain all that for you guys and tell you all about that stuff. He's the audio guy. I listen and watch, what he has to say on these things. It's not really my forte, but they came in priced a little bit higher than the previous generation, $30 more expensive. But of course, you're getting enhancements, you're getting improvements. There's some new stuff that they previously didn't have, but really, guys, what we're going to focus on here is going to be the specs of the phones and kind of the price points and what you're getting, some cellular stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this started. I'm going to go ahead and just get me out of the way a little bit and kind of focus here on these devices. Now, as of right now, there are some promotions that they're running. I'm sure they'll have some trade-in deals and things of that nature. Lots of value. So, Google Store trade-in up to $760 back. So that would be like if you probably have like the old generation Fold, or if you have like the previous generation 8 Pro or something like that, you'll get some better value on the trade-in. $200 in Google Store credits. I think that offer ends at the end of the month. And then you can get access to the Gemini Advanced Feature subscription, which is their AI subscription model. They've got that included with the 9 Pro phones too. So these are some of the things that the 9 Pro comes with. The 9 Pro is priced at $999. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and pull up all the phones here. So here's the Pixel 9. This is the entry level one, $800. All right. Pre-orders are up for sale. Let's take a look at the specs, shall we? I think I have the spec list right here, tech specs. Okay, so what do you guys want to know about the Pixel 9? This is the regular one. Here's your color options. It's pink. Looks like some kind of like a mint green. There's like an ivory colored porcelain, and then there's the obsidian, which is kind of like a gunmetal, dark grayish black of some sort. 6.3-inch display. It is a 1080p display. 60 to 120 hertz variable refresh rate. 1800 nits HDR display. Oh, actually, it says up to 2700 nits peak brightness. HDR support. Okay. With respect to battery, it does say 24 plus hours of battery life. That's going to be absolutely depending on how you use your device, right? There are some people who will have the display off while they stream a bunch of stuff, right? And that's going to still sip on your battery, right? Even though your display is not on. So that it's just, I don't take their ratings at face value at the least. I just don't, because they usually don't hold up. So I'm not going to tell you guys it's for sure going to be, one full day. I would expect it to last you through dinner for sure. I think that's a fair expectation, but I wouldn't go beyond that, right? Especially if you tax your phones. It says the battery size is typically 4700 milliamp hour with a minimum of 4558. That tells me they have multiple manufacturers providing them with batteries. So you depends on who made your battery. All right, fast charging. It says up to 55% in 30 minutes using Google's 45-watt USB-C charger, which is sold separately. You do get fast wireless charging, which is Qi certified, and then they have battery share, the feature that they've had for a while. Okay, so I'm going to talk more about the charging in a second, but it's definitely not going to be industry leading. All right, 12 gig of RAM. Storage, you have two options with the Pixel 9, 128 gig, 256 gig. So unfortunately, guys, if you need more storage, do not buy the Pixel 9. If you want a Pixel and you need more storage, it starts at the 9 Pro for you. All right, and I think that's very strategic. They wanted to keep the cost down. They wanted to make sure that this was an entry-level phone, and if you wanted, a better phone, you had to pay for it with a Pro model, okay? The processor is known as the Google Tensor G4. That's no surprise there. You get a Google VPN included with the device, end-to-end security, blah, blah, blah. I got some spam stuff. Cameras. I'm not sure if you guys are camera people. You might be. I don't think too much has changed. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic for still photography. Looks like the zoom should be really nice. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I'll leave the cameras up to you guys to check out. Ultra wide cameras included. We got front camera. It says dual PD selfie camera with autofocus. Okay, so that's cool. Uh, and here's all the different features. You guys can check out those things. It's just not something that I typically cover on my channel, video photography. So I'm gonna just go ahead and move on here. IP68 dust and water resistance, so it gives you some lifestyle protections. Plastic-free packaging, cool. All right, 7 years of OS security and pixel drop updates, so it keeps you up to date. They keep supporting the phone, giving you access to features and protection with security updates and OS updates. I think interesting that they're launching with Android 14, right? That's interesting. You think that they would launch it with 15, maybe 15 won't be ready yet. So they're going to launch with 14, they'll upgrade it to 15 with an over-the-air update. Fingerprint unlock, face unlock, pattern pin or okay, here's a new feature, right? Satellite SOS, emergency SOS. Okay, so this is cool because if you don't have a cellular connection, they still got you covered. They'll be able to, reach you in the case of an emergency. You'll have connectivity even if you don't have terrestrial cell coverage, access from your carrier or anything like that. So that's great. Medical emergency, you're kind of out there in the boonies or something. That's a great feature. We saw kind of, the iPhone get this and stuff. So we're glad to see this kind of finding its way to Android as well. Let's see here. Okay, so some of you guys out there, this is important. Dual SIM capability. Physical SIM is in tow. All right, so they are not going the way of eSIM only like the iPhones have. All right, it does support eSIM, but it does also have a single nano SIM slot. All right, and they've got a SIM tool that comes with the phone in the box. So that proves that we got our, a physical SIM card in tray. Let's see here. We do have Wi-Fi 7, so there's your Wi-Fi upgrade. Previous generations, I believe, were only up to 6E. So that gives you the full tri-band experience, 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, and the 6 gigahertz connectivity. You have 2x2 plus 2x2 MIMO. So this is going to give you higher order MIMO, which should give you theoretically faster speeds. We got an upgraded Bluetooth experience. I guess that's always appreciated. All right, here is the cellular network access. All right, now this is specific to model G2YBB. We're going to talk about this on a later picture image here from Google. We'll look at more of these specs. But this one model for the United States is going to have all bands for all carriers. This is really, really good. I'm going to show you guys how this works for each carrier. So with respect to LTE, we're all covered. All right, all carriers are supported across the board. So Dish included, for 5G bands. We'll discuss those individually. Verizon's LTE and 5G, AT&T's LTE and 5G, T-Mobile's LTE and 5G. Now with 5G, because 5G obviously is the future of networking. All right, we have N2. All right, so when PCS goes 5G for all carriers, we're covered. Some of them have it already. All right, we have N5, the low band. All right, so that's covered for all carriers. N12, whenever the AT&T decides to do that. N14, FirstNet, whenever it goes 5G. Here's N25 for T-Mobile. That's covered. We have N26. If anybody ends up deploying that, that's the old Sprint Band 26. We have N29, which is Dish and AT&T. AT&T hasn't moved their Band 29 to 5G yet, but whenever they do, they're ready with the Pixel. N30 is there. That's AT&T for the future. N41 for T-Mobile. That's their 5G UC layer, the really, really fast one. Here's N48, basically just Verizon building that out. When that goes to NR, they're covered there. N66, the AWS, all carriers have that basically. Then there's N70, which is Dish. N66 also something for Dish. N71 for Dish. N71 for T-Mobile. And then you have C-band N77. That includes both the DoD and the C-band. So that's Verizon, that's AT&T, that's Dish. It's all there. And then when it comes to millimeter wave, that's covered. All right, this is important. We have a single model for the Pixel, and it has all the sub 6 gigahertz, the lower frequencies, plus it has millimeter wave. N261, which is 28 gigahertz, N260, which is 39 gigahertz. That has you covered for Verizon. That has you covered for AT&T, T-Mobile, if and when they start building theirs a little bit more robustly. Right, that'll be covered. So, guys, what you have, of course, it's got eSIM, so that's covered. You have a complete world global phone, right? And you have one single model for the entire US. This is like the iPhone, right? In that respect, you didn't get an iPhone without millimeter wave or with millimeter wave, right? It was all one model, and that's what we're getting here, with the Pixel lineup. So that's really, really good to see. 1 year warranty, USB-C to USB-C cable comes in the box, and a SIM tool comes in the box. Okay, now one of the things I talked about previously, and this is a little bit earlier in the stream, I talked a little bit about the charging speed or the rate of charging. And this is important because there's some really specific details here, and I'm going to highlight them on the screen. A Pixel 9, if it's connecting by wired charging, can charge up to 27 watts. All right. On the Pixel 9 Pro, same thing. Says up to 27 watts. The Pixel 9 Pro XL is the only one that will charge at a faster rate at 37 watts. Now, what they kind of included here is they said you got to use the 45-watt USB-C charger plugged into a wall outlet. So I'm not sure if, you're going to be able to achieve these speeds with aftermarket stuff. I don't know. I'm guessing you probably can, but you're going to need at least a 45-watt charger to achieve the theoretical speeds that they've provided in these phones. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. 27 watts is a good charging rate. There's nothing wrong with it. 37 watts is a really good charging rate. That's great, right? You should be able to charge these phones pretty quick, but it's not industry leading. If you're looking for vendors that, OEMs that have faster charging phones, you're getting the Samsung Ultra, the S24 Ultra. You're getting the folds and the flips. You're getting, the OnePlus technologies that they have for fast charging. This is good charging. It's not, great. It's not the greatest, the fastest, but it's good, and it's an improvement over previous generations. So that's good to see. With respect to wireless charging, all of them are wireless charging enabled. So that's good. 15-watt wireless charging for the Pixel 9, 21-watt wireless charging for the Pixel 9 Pro. So you get an upgrade right off the bat in wireless charging from the 9 to the 9 Pro. You get an additional upgrade if you get a 9 Pro XL because it'll charge at 23 watts. Now, that's not a huge difference going from 21 watts to 23, but going from 15 to 21 or 23 is pretty sizable. All right. So that's good to see that they did kick up the charging speed with some of these models. Glad to see that they did that to make it a bit of a more premium experience, because if you're going to charge wirelessly, you don't want the phone to take forever. You still want it to charge at a decent pace. To be honest with you guys, if you want your phone to charge fast, it's going to have to be with a wire, right? Let's just look at this. The Pixel 9 Pro XL wirelessly charges at 23 watts, right? All of the Pixels charge by wire faster than that. It's just part of the technology limitations. So I don't know if it's fair to expect much more from wireless charging. That's decent, right? But I guess if the wireless charging rate matters to you, you're definitely not going to want to get the Pixel 9. That is a huge concession because 27 watts versus 15 watts is a very, very, high discrepancy. It's basically half the pace. It's going to take you twice as long to charge your phone. Also, phones get hot too, so it might not be your cup of tea, and you might want to preserve your battery, right, to make it last and stuff. So I don't know. That's, I guess, to some people, kind of a decision they have to make. IP68 dust and waterproof resistance. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to mention in regards to features. I think that's really it. Here's some of the other things I wanted to share with you guys. Okay, so here's the Pro, right? Pricing $999 for the Pro, 6.3 inches. If you go Pro XL, you go 6.8 inches. Pricing goes from $999 to $1099. So the additional $100 for the larger phone, getting you the larger battery and stuff like that. Here's your colors, right? It's all the same across the board. Actually, the green changes. So instead of the minty green color, it kind of turns into this hazel thing or whatever. So you might like that color, not sure. Tech specs, they're basically all going to be improved versions of the 9, right? With the Pro and the Pro XL. You do get some improvements to the peak brightness of the display. You get larger displays, you get higher resolution displays. The battery, gets larger. The charging rates get faster. These are important things, right? The memory and the storage. If you go with a Pro or a Pro XL, you're going to get 4 extra gigs of RAM, right? You're going from 12 gig to 16 gig. And you still get the options for storage at 128 gig and 256, but you get the half terabyte and the full terabyte size options with the Pro and the Pro XL. Same tensor, same chipsets. You still get all the cool features, the Google VPN at no cost, right? Those types of things, all these different little add-ons, that are really good. You're going to get some enhanced camera experiences. I believe it looks like some of those, seem to be improved based on the hardware. All right, so that's good if you're looking for those things. And that's probably it. I don't see a difference with respect to anything else. I know that some features might be different too. That because they're gonna have enhancements and wanting you to pay for the more premium phones, but everything else is basically the same. Looks good. Wi-Fi 7, same radios. Here's the models. If you're interested in the 9 Pro, you're looking for model GR83Y. If you're looking for the Pro XL, you're looking for model GGX8B. And they've got all the bands for all the carriers, millimeter wave on all models, eSIM on all models, physical SIM on all models, all the LTE and 5G covered for Dish, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. I know that they did mention in the event that they enhanced the accessibility features for the camera, right? So that seems to be a bit of an improvement. Same things included in the box and all those types of things. And then here is the 9 Pro Fold coming in at $1,799. It's just basically a dual display combined into one, right? Foldable. So it does. They did say that it looks and feels like it's a regular phone when it's closed, and then when you unfold it, you get this great real estate, this display, and you can do so much more. Um, let's see here. So the external display is 6.3 inches, just like the Pixel 9, 1080p, all those same features. When you open it up, it's 8-inch display, and the resolution gets higher. It's obviously gonna be more capable because of that. You could just do so much more, right? Split screen and multi, tasking and stuff like that becomes obviously much more uh, capable in what it can do. I'm surprised by this. That bigger phone doesn't have a bigger battery, 4650 milliamp hour, right? And some of them having 4560 milliamp hour. the battery life here is going to suck compared to the other models. The other models have bigger batteries and they're just smaller displays, right? I'm not sure, but this could be an issue. The $1,800 phone might have crappy battery life. I'm not sure why they couldn't squeeze in a bigger battery, or figure out something. But you do get the faster charging rate, and stuff like that. The things that we discussed, 16 gig of RAM. The Fold only has two storage options, 256 and 512. So you don't get a terabyte option and you don't get the 128, obviously. Uh, Cameras, that's again not really my forte, but you guys can check into that and see if you're interested in it. Let's see here. Anything else we need to know? It looks like AT&T is not going to be selling the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. No word on any other carriers not selling it, but we can assume that they'll have it. So that's kind of I guess a need to know for some of you out there that have AT&T and upgrade through the carrier. All right, this is the model GGH2X. Includes all 5G bands, millimeter wave, and sub 6 gigahertz. We got the full connectivity of millimeter wave. We do have an additional band that wasn't mentioned in the previous phones. So N261 and 260, those we know about. That's Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile supported. But I think in the previous phones, they showed only one of these bands, N258, enabled. Well, this one also has N257. I'm not even sure which carriers have that band in the US, but it's on there. Also, I think this is the first time it was mentioned too, is N79. N79 is a band that's international, not deployed in the US, but that's not included on the other models, but it is included in the Fold. But the rest of it is identical. I see band 46 is enabled as well. That's LAA 5.2 gigahertz spectrum. Trying to see if the other one that wasn't included in the other phones either. So there are some slight variations with this particular setup with the Fold. I'm not sure why, but it is. But yeah, all these phones are capable with all your carriers. Won't be an issue. Won't be a problem. You guys will be good. Ultra wideband chip is there, hardware wise. Wi-Fi 7, dual SIM, nano SIM, physical SIM, and eSIM. All right, so yeah, those are the phones. They're to just kind of discuss the pricing, I suppose. And let me go back to this actually, because we could discuss the price. All right, so if you are trying to get the latest and greatest from Google, the Pixel 9 comes in at $799. Let's call it $800. That is $100 more than last year's phone, the Pixel 8, which came in at $699. Obviously, you're getting a better phone, right? It's 1 year with, additional features, technologies, capabilities. So they're charging you for it. It's $100 more. Is it the end of the world? Well, not really. I mean, most people are going to finance these phones. Nobody's, going to be hell bent out of shape that it's $100 more. I'm not sure if people are going to not buy this phone because it's not $699. You know, and actually, what it does, I think, is it creates a little bit more space between the regular Pixels, like the nines, and then what we'd assume would become like the 9A or something like that, which will probably come in priced at like $499 or something like that, or even $599. There's going to be some space between them in pricing. The 9 Pro comes in at $1,000, $999. All right, so you got $200 separating the regular 9 from the 9 Pro. That's enough space to make you think, do I want to spend the extra $200 to get the Pro features, to get the faster charging, the faster wireless charging, the faster wired charging, to get the better camera experience, to get the AI features included? Is it worth it to me? And the bigger battery and the bigger display that comes with the Pro XL. Do I want to go with that phone? That one's $1099. Those are preferences. Do you feel like you're going to get value out of these phones based on the pricing? I will tell you guys, if money is not the issue, I think I would go with the Pro XL, right? If money was not the issue, I'd go with the Pro XL. I personally am not really ready for the fold, I don't think. Although I think with the fold for the creator, for the person who is looking for, the ability to do the most get the most out of their device, that might be it, using a pencil, a stylus, and all those types of things, productivity. I think that becomes a legitimate option, but you're coming in at 17.99, right? So if you're a regular phone person, the Pixel 9 at 800, the Pixel 9 Pro at 1,000, the Pixel Pro XL at 1099. I think the best phone bang for the buck is going to be the Pro XL, but it ain't cheap. It's coming in at $1,100. What else sells for $1,100, right? The larger iPhone, right? So the 15 Pro Max and whatever comes out this year, with the 16 Pro Max or whatever, right? That's going to be comparable. The Galaxy S24 Plus, the Galaxy S24 Ultra puts you in that territory. But remember, in order to get the extra storage, the larger storage models, you got to go with a Pro or a Pro XL. So these are some of the things I think you guys got to consider with these phones is I want the premium hardware, I have to pay the premium pricing for it. You're not going to get a premium experience, I think, out of the 9. Right? The 9 is their entry level. The Pro gets you kind of premium, and then the Pro XL, in my opinion, that is their true powerhouse flagship. Is their 9 their flagship? Sure. But I think the Pro model gets you into a territory that allows it to be, more like your premium offers, the things that the iPhone does, the things that the Galaxies do with their Plus and their Ultra models. It puts it into that thing. Now, one of the things that sticks out to me from the event and what they talked about with respect to the Google leaders who are in part of marketing the phones and showing off its capabilities at the event, they said that these phones are going to be more efficient than the previous generation. They're going to consume less battery life. I think this gives it an opportunity to possibly produce less heat, which has been a problem that has plagued the Pixels in the past. So maybe we start to see that improve. Uh, the processes are going to be a lot easier to achieve. They mentioned that rendering and editing video is going to be a lot easier, less taxing on the devices. That gets me excited. I think where I'll end this live stream, because we're obviously kind of long winded. I've been talking a lot. Is if I'm going to get these phones, do I recommend people buying these phones? They're easy to recommend. If you're coming out of a Pixel 7 generation like me, you're getting a sizable improvement. You're getting a sizable upgrade. It's going to be worth the upgrade. The question is it going to be better than the iPhone that you're replacing it with, or the Pixel that you're replacing it with, or the Galaxy that you're replacing it with? That's an objective, that can be objective and subjective. Objectively, if these phones are newer, obviously, than the phone you currently have, they're going to be better, right? But if you're coming out of like an S24, you're not buying this phone. I mean, why would you? You have better hardware in an S24 than a Pixel 9, right? A Qualcomm, made chipset is better than the Samsung made Exynos Tensor chip. The still photography is one of the selling points of the Pixels. That might win you over, right? But I think it just depends, right? And that's where the subjectivity comes into play. If I'm in an older Pixel, this is a worthy upgrade. If I'm in an older iPhone or older Galaxy, this could be a worthy upgrade as well. Now, if I'm in a there we go. If I'm in a model year iPhone or a model year Galaxy, I'm not upgrading to this. All right. And me personally, I have a Pixel 7 Pro. I think an upgrade is due. If I'm in an iPhone 14, this is probably a good upgrade as well, right? Maybe I'm looking at an iPhone, a new iPhone, right? Get some AI features, things like that. If I'm in a Galaxy S21, S22, this is a worthy upgrade. But if I'm in an S23 or an S24, I'm not sure I'm upgrading. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. That's kind of my thought process there. I think the S24 is a better phone, the S24 generation. Mind you, in just a handful of months, we're going to have a new Galaxy S25, right? And next year's Pixel lineup is going to be, have a different type of tensor chip. I don't know what they're going to call it. Tensor 5 or something. I don't know. But it's going to be manufactured by TSMC, right? It's not going to be manufactured by Samsung. So it'll be different, possibly better. Who knows? But I'll tell you what, guys, for the pricing and the features that they've put into this, the value is there, right? Especially with the deals, with trade-in deals possibly coming down the pipeline, all the AI features, productivity things that you could do. Some of those lifestyle features I saw, they talked about it on the Google event, like taking a picture of yourself when you're not in the picture. It was just so good and so cool. I'm a big fan of what they do for features. But from, like, the cellular standpoint, is it gonna be as good as a model year Galaxy? Probably not. Is it gonna be good as this year's iPhone? Probably not. With respect to cellular, RF, the antennas, the radios, I don't think it's gonna be as good as those. I think it's gonna be 3rd place as it's been for a couple of years now, a few years, and I don't think that's gonna change. It's gonna be better than last year's. It'll be an improvement from last year's, much better than 2 years ago and 3 years ago. But I still think, if you're buying this phone for anything other than all those great features, you're gonna feel like you didn't really get much of an upgrade. But if you're into the features, if you're into the AI experience, if you're looking for those types of things from Google, it's going to be really good. Overall, I think it's a good package. I think it's a fine value. People are willing to pay these prices for iPhones. They're willing to pay these prices for Galaxies. Why the hell wouldn't they pay this much for Pixels, which allow them to do a lot of the same things, if not more, in my opinion? But, yeah, that's kinda my take, on these phones. I think they're cool, I think they're good upgrades, and they might have their place for a lot of you out there. But thanks for watching the stream, y'all. We shall see you on the next one.